Tokyo, April the 18th, 1942. A clear and quiet morning. It's the 133rd day of Japan's war with the United States. Just another day in Japan's capital city, far away from war. Tokyo is staging another air raid drill, but no air raid sirens are sounded. There's no panic, there's no rush. Air raid wardens gaze and look into the placid and empty sky, like they've done so many times before. The drill comes to its predictable and uneventful end. War workers put down their tools and begin their midday break. Millions of other Tokyo residents go shopping, order lunch in the busy restaurants, visit parks and shrines, and watch baseball games. Although their nation is now at war, a world war, Tokyo citizens have reason enough to feel secure. Radio Tokyo has repeatedly assured the population that they, their nation, and most importantly, Emperor Hirohito, are safe from enemy attack. The fact is that no foreign attacker had seriously threatened Japan's sacred soil since Kublai Khan in 1281. Victory fever is deeply felt by the populace. Meanwhile, somewhere in the Pacific, American aircraft carriers Enterprise and Hornet are part of a task force of 14 warships heading to Japan for a seemingly impossible mission. America is outraged and has been humbled. The battleships of its Pacific fleet are being salvaged and repaired in Pearl Harbor, victims of the Japanese surprise attack of December 7, 1941. Over the following months, the US and its allies could only stand by and watch as the Japanese juggernaut stormed across the Pacific, paralyzing every British, Dutch, French, and American position in its path.
Any chance at revenge would be an honor.
And you don't have to stand by and watch. With Warpath, the sponsor of today's video, you can take command yourself, experience the thrill of combat, freely command your troops, and enjoy controlling the battlefield in faithfully restored historical settings. And now the game features the muscles from Brussels himself, Mr. Jean-Claude Van Damme. Warpath is a free-to-play war strategy mobile game that's set in World War II. It is totally free on both Google Play and App Store, and you can experience classic battles such as the Normandy landings and the defense of Moscow on your phone, anytime, anywhere. Thanks to Warpath's recent update, you can now get a realistic experience of modern Air Force warfare, fly a Mustang fighter, and enjoy its sharpness and roar firsthand. The range of aircraft is wider than Van Damme's splits, with 42 new fighter and bomber units for you to collect. You can also enhance and modify your aircraft as you wish, design accessories to make it stronger to defeat other players' fighters. Gather, explore, construct, cultivate, and fight. Every decision you make is crucial. Dominate the sky and win the war. Click on the link in the description to download the game now. And if you don't want Van Damme to hunt you down, use the code AIRFORCE2021. You will instantly get 200 gold, 100,000 in-game dollars, oil, steel, and an Air Force experience book worth $10. But for Yarnhub viewers, it's absolutely free when you click on the link. The Hornet is the star of the show as it carries 16 medium B-25 bombers led by legendary pilot Lieutenant Colonel James Jimmy H. Doolittle. Their mission is to avenge Pearl Harbor and strike at the heart of mainland Japan. President Roosevelt himself has pressed all service chiefs to come up with a plan to retaliate against Tokyo, and they've delivered an idea so simple and daring that no one has tried it before. Bombers from an aircraft carrier positioned hundreds of miles off the coast of Japan. If it works, the bombers will hit its strategic targets, and if all goes to plan, to go on to land on the Chuchao airstrip, as agreed with the Chinese. Jimmy Doolittle has been tasked with testing the bombers and training the crews, a man with unflinching courage and living up to their motto, toujours au danger, ever into danger. Doolittle wants to be the first to take off from the Hornet, to lead from the front. But is it too late? They get word that a scout plane has sighted several enemy vessels, which means the Japanese are about to spot the American task force. At 7:38 a.m., lookouts on the Hornet spot a small enemy patrol boat, the Nito Maru. They've been discovered. The Hornet is still 300 miles and 9 hours of sailing away from the intended takeoff point. Doolittle takes a snap decision. It's now or never. He knows his crews won't have enough fuel to reach the safety of Chuchao. and he knows all too well that he and his men may never return, but he can't abort the mission. Doolittle told his men, "I don't intend to be taken prisoner. I'm 45 years old and have lived a full life. If my plane is crippled beyond any possibility of fighting or escape, I'm going to have my crew bail out, and then I'm going to dive my B-25 into the best military target I can find. You fellows are all younger, and you have a long life ahead of you. I don't expect any of the rest of you to do what I intend to do." At 8:15 a.m., Doolittle leads the way, and he is the first to be airborne. At intervals of 1 to 5 minutes, all B-25s leave the deck of the Hornet, each carrying 5 crew members and 4 500-pound bombs. A few minutes later, the squadron is flying, undisturbed, barely 40 feet above the water, at a speed of 150 miles an hour. Doolittle and 9 other aircraft will strike at Tokyo. 3 B-25s will hit targets in Kanagawa, Yokohama, and the Yokosuka Navy Yard. The remaining 3 will head to Nagoya, Osaka, and Kobe. At noon, the unsuspecting citizens of Tokyo wave enthusiastically to the bombers flying past. But then, someone notices the distinctive white star painted on the planes and realizes the unthinkable is happening. The Americans are attacking. A French journalist rushed outside. "I heard a rugged, powerful sound of airplane engines. A raid at noon. Explosions. I spotted a dark airplane traveling very fast at rooftop level. So they've come," he said. Doolittle climbs to 1,200 feet to avoid incoming anti-aircraft fire, then locks onto his targets. At 1:15 p.m., he gives the go-ahead to his bombardier. The bomb bay doors open and 4 incendiary cluster bombs plummet down over Tokyo. As a firestorm engulfs Doolittle's quarry, he takes his plane down to rooftop level and veers south, back towards the Pacific. He later said, "Down to the surface we went, mouths like glue, eyes wide open." At the same time, Lieutenant Joyce's crew is in serious trouble. They are being pursued by 6 Japanese fighters, and the pilot has to dive at high speed to elude them. The maneuver causes both tail guns to jam, leaving the B-25 defenseless. In the heat of battle, somehow, Sergeant Larkin manages to fix one of the machine guns. He gets off several bursts. It's a hit, and the Japanese fighter goes down. Then another comes in, and once more, Larkin takes it down. Larkin has saved the day, and the bomber climbs above the clouds, leaving the remaining fighters behind. Among other targets, the Doolittle Raiders have hit the Communications Ministry, the Asahi Electrical Manufacturing Factory, the Japan Diesel and Steel Corporations, and the Mitsubishi Heavy Industries Aircraft Factory. The attack on the Yokosuka Naval Base has put an aircraft carrier out of action for what will be 4 months. The mission is not over yet. The Raiders now have to make it to the safety of the Chuchao airstrips, but everybody's fuel is running dangerously low. On top of that, the agreed radio homing signals have not been activated. Unbeknownst to the Raiders, the plane intended to deliver the radio beacons is taken off too late and later crashes in a storm. With few options available, most crews decide to bail out. At 9:30 p.m., Doolittle switches on the autopilot and orders his crew to jump. At about the same time, Joyce, Larkin, and their fellow crew members don their parachutes and bail out of their planes. A few minutes later, Doolittle lands chest deep into a rice paddy. Alone, in the dark, he ventures into a farm to find shelter for the night. The morning after, Chinese guerrilla fighters help him link up with his crew. Sergeant Larkin, however, is not so lucky. He has to hike for miles and climb 2 mountains before he is reunited with the airmen from another bomber thanks to 2 missionaries. Little by little, with help from farmers, guerrillas, and other missionaries, Doolittle and 54 of the Raiders are successfully reunited. Not all the crews are so lucky. One plane has landed in Vladivostok. The unfortunate crew are interned by the Soviets until they escape. 3 airmen have died in crash landings and 8 have been captured by the Japanese. 3 of them will be executed, and a 4th will die in captivity. Lieutenant Colonel Doolittle expects to be court-martialed and interned upon return to the US due to the loss of all airplanes and his perceived low level of damage inflicted during the raid. But the action is seen as a daring and incredible success to reclaim the honor of America after the attack at Pearl Harbor. The daring pilot is promoted to Brigadier General and receives the Medal of Honor from President Roosevelt. If you haven't yet, please subscribe to the channel and please watch more videos of ours. Thank you.